Hey YouTube, I'm back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Helen. I also go as Lenny, and I'm currently located in Orlando, Florida as a professional makeup artist. So today I bring you guys a look that came out and it was Barbie themed. However, it is a little late, so hopefully you guys don't mind, but I still wanted to push it through, and I have my lovely model Brianna. And if you guys would like to see how I got this beautiful look, then just keep on watching. So to start off, I like to use the Fresh Rose Deep Hydration Facial Toner. This is a non-stripping toner that also has hyaluronic acid that reduces the look of pores, all while hydrating the skin. When applying the primer, I like to use an exfoliating cotton pad to go around the eyes, lips, and nose to remove any debris and or dead skin. This toner is a great prep for makeup because it is lightweight and creates a great base for a flawless makeup application. Next, I like to apply the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Glow Serum. I love applying this product with my hands because I feel like it presses it into the skin and also adds a natural glow to the skin. Next, I'm going to be using my all-time favorite Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This primer is bomb.com. I love using this on all skin types because I feel like it truly grips the makeup in place. When applying this primer, I like to make sure I use a flat foundation brush and I make sure to go underneath the eyes. I feel like the eyes tend to get a little dry and as well sometimes creases. So when I'm using this primer, I make sure to go underneath the eyes, around the mouth, and all over the face. Next, I'll be using the Black Opal True Color Pore Perfecting Liquid Foundation. I really love this foundation because it leaves a skin finish and the color matches is honestly true to skin. I like to use a flat foundation brush to apply the foundation, and then I use more of a fluffy brush to blend it out. And I like to make sure that I follow my client's undertones. So my model has more of a neutral undertone, so I made sure to mix two foundations to give me more of that neutral shade. As you guys can see, the color match is flawless. I make sure to apply most of the foundation in the center of the face and blend out towards the outskirts of the face. I'm going to put a little bit on her forehead because it's summertime, so she has a bit of a tan on her forehead. So I'm going to go in with the Anastasia Cream Bronzer, and I'm using the shade Chestnut. So when applying this bronzer, I'm going to apply it in the same areas that we normally contour. So I'll use it in the hollows of the cheek, around the forehead, and down the bridge of the nose. When performing nose contour, I like to use a small angled brush, and then I start at the eyebrow and bring it all the way down to the tip of the nose. Just using small strokes to kind of make sure that I'm keeping a straight line because I want her nose to look snatched. So I'm just going to form the shape that I want and then blend out. So next I'm going to be going in with the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. I'm going to be using two shades, Cookie and Butterscotch, so I'll mix them together, and I'm going to start by applying the product underneath the eyes. I like to apply it with the flat foundation brush that I use to apply her foundation, and I start closer to the bridge of the nose, and then I like to angle it out towards the brow. When applying the concealer at this angle, it provides for a more of a lifted look. So I like to create this illusion by playing with the lights and darks of my makeup application. I will also be applying the concealer on the forehead, down the nose, on the top of the lip, and on the chin. Now going in with my foundation brush, I'm just going to use it to blend out the edges of my concealer. I left a lot of my blending clip in so that way you guys can see my blending process in real time. Now going in with the Juvia's Place Peach Rose Liquid Blush, I'm just going to use the smallest dab of this cream blush. Anybody knows about the Juvia's Place liquid blushes, and this stuff is so pigmented. So I'm going to put a small dab on my palette and then use an even smaller dab on my brush and just apply it on the high points of her cheek. I like to keep the face lifted, so everything I do is at an angle to kind of keep the face at a higher angle. Remember I said we play with the lights and darks of the makeup application, so this is also going to help with that effect. And then I just blend it out towards the center of the face, all into the under eye concealer, because I want everything to look seamless. So I tap this underneath the eye, and then I go back in with my concealer brush and I just blend it right on top of it. At this point, I'm only going to be using the shade Cookie, and just to keep the under eye nice and bright, I'm going to blend it from the center of the eye out into the blush. Now I'm going to be using my all-time favorite One Size Translucent Powder. This setting powder is so bomb, and I use it for literally every single shade of client that I have because it's actually truly translucent. So what I'm going to be using is my powder puff. I'm going to just be pressing this product into the skin. I'm not so focused on baking right now. I just want to press it in to kind of set the highlighted areas. So I'll be pressing it underneath her eye, her chin, the top of her lip, up down the bridge of her nose, and on her forehead. Now just applying the tiniest bit amount, I'm going to use this along her jaw. This is just going to help to mattify the skin so that way we can have a matte base for when I put on pressed powder. Now using the MAC Studio Fix pressed powder in the shade NW50, I'm going to press this powder in with a large fluffy brush. I'll be using this on all the areas that we did not highlight. So this will go on the jaw, on the sides of the face where we've placed her cream bronzer, across her forehead, and on the sides of her nose. This is just going to help to mattify it so that way when we place bronzer, it's not going on a wet base, because then we'll have a muddy look. We don't want that, so we make sure that we mattify with a powder that is closer to her skin tone. Using the Morphe bronzer palette. I don't remember the shade names of these, but I will be using that shade that is like almost touching pan. I'll be using that shade to bronze her face. This is just going to add so much warmth to the look and give her a contoured look without having to use a gray toned contour. I don't like using regular contour palettes, so I go for more bronzer palettes that have more of an orange undertone to it because it adds warmth without it looking gray. So I'll use this along her jaw, so in the middle of her jaw and on the sides of her nose and across her forehead. I'll be using that same brush that I used to cream contour her nose to now set it with powder. But when I use a bronzer powder, I'll be going in with the lightest shade. Next, going in with the same loose translucent powder from One Size, I'll be using this to now bake the face. I'll press this underneath the eyes really lightly because I just want to dab the powder. I'll put it on the sides of the nose along the contour. This will also help to snatch the nose further, and I'll make sure to lift it up the same way that we have the angle of the concealer. I'll be making sure to put a little bit of loose powder along the center of her nose. This will also help with the nose contour. Now I'll be going in with the exact same concealer that I used to blend out her concealer on her eyes, and I'll be placing this on her eyelids. So I'll be using this as her eyeshadow base, and I make sure to blush this into the eyebrow as well. I'm going to set this the exact same way that we set underneath the eye by pressing in loose translucent powder. Now I'll be going in with the or maybe it's MMM. This palette is from MMM Mitchell's makeup collection, and I'll be using this darker pink shade to start the eye. I'll just be placing this in the crease using my Morphe brush to blend this in. This will act as my transition shade. Now using the P. Louise basic eyeshadow base, I'll be using this to kind of cut the crease. I won't actually be cutting the crease, I'm just going to place this on her lid to give us a base for a lighter pink shade. And this base is phenomenal. All of P. Louise bases are really great, but I like using the color ones for looks like this so that way I can have a great base to put my eyeshadow. Once I applied the P. Louise base, I just went in with a lighter shade to top on the lid. I did not record that part, but you guys get the gist. Just a light pink shade to tap on top of the pink base. Now I'll be going in with the NYX Epic Liner, and I'll just be using this to tight line her eyes. I'm not really trying to go for a winged effect, but I just want to kind of tight line her eyes with a nice solid black line. After I tightline her waterline, I'm going to be using the exact same pink that I used in her crease shade as a shade underneath her eyes. I'll just be smoking this out along the black. Now I'm going to go in with the Morphe Micro Brow Pencil. I'll be using the shade Java. These are my absolute favorite eyebrow pencils. These are actually one of the only ones in my kit. I feel like they're super simple and very easy to use. I just like to use them in a nice small hair-like form where I just do small strokes in like hair-like fashions so that way I can fill in the brow very naturally. I make sure to push up when using it in the front of the brow, and I create a nice shape along the entire brow. So one of my favorite sayings is that every liquid product needs a powdered form as its equivalent. So on top of her liquid blush, we'll be using a powder blush to set it. So I'll be using two products, one from Patrick Ta and the other for Jaclyn Cosmetics. I'll be using first the Patrick Ta Press Blush to press into the same areas that we put her liquid blush. So remember, everything gets put at an angle. So I'll be starting at the high points of the cheek, going up into the brow and a little bit into her eyeshadow. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with the Jaclyn blush. I'll just be using this really lightly. I feel like it adds more of like that loose powder finish to her blush. Now using my concealer brush, I'll be using this to dust away all of the loose powder that we put on her face. I use more of a pressing motion rather than swiping away because I feel like this moves all of the cream products underneath. Now I'm going to be using the Sephora Cream Rouge Liquid Lipstick along with the MAC Chestnut Lip Liner. Y'all, don't be judging me on my products. I like to use everything until it's gone, okay? And that especially includes my lip liners. I love this lip liner and I need to re-up. I know I do. MAC, if you want to send me some, please. I am more than happy to receive. But in the meantime, I'm going to be using my products until they are gone, okay? So I'll be just using this to line her lips. I like to make sure that I almost overline her lips. So in the high points of the lip where it's still light but raised, I know y'all know what I'm talking about. That's where I'm going to place the lip liner, okay? And I like to make sure that this is nice and seamless and it is straight. So I'll use like small motions going back and forth to make sure that I'm getting that look. And then going in with the liquid lipstick, I'll just be putting this on in the center of her lips, blending it out onto the lip liner. Now I'm just going to apply some edge control to her edges to lay them down. Now I'm going to be using my gems from Amazon. I got these pearls off of Amazon and they were super affordable and they're so cute. So I'm just going to use a little bit of these. I'll use a smaller one in the center of her eye, and then I'll be using a larger and smaller one on the outskirts of her eye. Super easy to put on. I just use some lash glue, I dab it on, and then I put the gem. Now to finish off her lip, I'll be using the Fenty gloss. I believe this is in the shade Sweet Mouth, and I'll just be topping this on top of her liquid matte lip. Lastly, I'll be going in with the Morphe Continuous Set and Mist Spray to just set her face. Now this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you'd like to see more, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye!